All right, let's pull up some slides. Let's talk about this week in stocks and see what happened here. I'm curious to know what you guys thought about this week. Tariffs obviously were leading the way. How about this second week in a row? When you go back to Sunday, second Sunday in a row where markets were down big. Like, when's the last time we've seen that happen? Right, like so much activity in the overnight session before we get to Monday. So I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like if we have another one of those, I think it might be bad. Like the first, like 2 weeks ago was DeepSeek. This past week, tariff talk, markets were down like over 100 and change. I didn't do anything overnight. Did you guys do anything overnight, like on that Sunday?
I was just going to ask you if you do anything overnight. Now, we do have a viewer who will trade the mini futures overnight. But I usually don't. I don't even think about it. What about you, Liz?
Well, I mean, it's interesting when you say overnight because with the tariffs, I mean, SPOOs were down 50 when the tariffs were coming out. But then when we opened up, they were down a ton. And with DeepSeek, it didn't come out until the morning.
Right. No, I mean,
so there wasn't really much, even if you watched like the Sunday night show, they weren't even really doing much about it,
But
so
we did
it's kind of interesting. But the volatility.
We did have one of our viewers trading.
I don't know when you
looked,
looked, but SPOOs was down like 100 and change like Sunday night at one point in time.
Yeah, and then we had a viewer selling the mini VIX, and then Monday afternoon was able to get out of it.
I go to bed real early, Jamal, real early. So it was.
Yeah. Yeah, I go to bed late. Yeah, they were down pretty big, and I was.
So when I woke up and I had to like rub my eyes because I looked at the market before I went to bed, and then when I got up, I was like, "What the heck?"
The reason why I remember because I was thinking about maybe we can move to the next slide, John. I was thinking about maybe doing something when they were like, I don't know, it was like 59.60. I was like, nah, like 59.35. And I was like, nah, maybe below 5,900. I get serious, and that's when I realized like, wow, like we're down pretty big, and I guess I feel like volatility clusters sometimes. So you'll have like one Sunday, boom, down big, and then mark comes back. Another Sunday, boom. If it does it again, I just feel like it's going to be real scary, whatever the next time is. And I thought it was going to get scary, but again, to the point of these slides, like they were down because of the news that we're going to be tariffing Canada and Mexico for 25%, right? And then all of a sudden we come in on Monday. Yeah, just kidding. And markets jump back up. And so they've been delayed 1 month. But I mean, if they didn't, like you could see it, like they were really kind of tense there. And if they didn't come up with that whole delayed 1 month or he didn't talk to the Mexican president and Trudeau, it felt like markets were going to be down lower. So it was a little bit nervous.
I think this Sunday with the Super Bowl, I don't think there's much going on.
No, that's what people have said, though.
And taking a look at the VIX right now, I mean, the VIX is under 15 right now. It's trading 14.93. And I kind of look at that as saying, if there was the market's smarter than me. I say that all the time. The market is smarter than me. And so kind of looking at that, the market is telling us it might be all calm on the waterfront for this weekend, too. I don't know.
Definitely. No, it totally is. But there's size weekend risk. Wouldn't you say? Like the last 2 weekends, there's news that comes out. Everybody's been saying, yeah, because of the Super Bowl and Trump's going to be at the Super Bowl. But I don't know. That doesn't mean anything can't be said. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
True.
Who really knows?
It seems like every time we get a move, it turns around in the other direction. How many days have we had like an 80-point turnaround to one side or the other? I know, Liz, what day was it? Last week, Thursday or something. Market was up, and then we had an 80-point reversal, and the market was down. And then Sunday night, market's down. Monday, market's down. By the end of the day, it's turned around. Like, we haven't had any direction in any continuous movement in one direction.
Yeah. I mean, but all traders do love this. Hunker down, take your profits, and take both sides because you never know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Yeah, true. This week basically was marked by the tariffs, right? We had the ones for Canada and Mexico, like you said, turnaround, just kidding. But the Chinese ones, I think, have been enacted, and China retaliated with 10% tariffs. Those are supposed to be coming on Monday. I actually haven't, when we go to the next slide, I'll show more about the different tariffs. But of course, we had Google and Amazon among the earnings that we had this week. Google and Amazon kind of disappointed, and people are starting to wonder if the Mag 7 can produce on earnings, or is there a slowdown in growth, right? Like it's been the growth of AI and all the stuff. Yeah. Is that slowing down? Jobs report this week, there was a 47-point move expected yesterday coming into this thing, and we're flat. Like nothing happening. I don't know the last time that's happened on a jobs report, but I personally think that maybe all this tariff and all this other stuff has people wondering, because before, like, we would move on the report based on how much we would outpace whatever the expectation was, right? And so then it's like, okay, well, now we can cut rates, or the market has been moving higher because we expect to cut rates. And then if we don't meet whatever number the jobs report expects, market falls, market moves big. Yeah. But now it's like, well, we're not cutting rates. We can't cut rates. We don't know what we're going to do because all this tariff stuff. And I think the market doesn't know how to react to this jobs report, it feels, because it's just like flat.
Well, and it's easier to make a non-move instead of a wrong move, right? So it's easier to be like, well, yeah, we're waiting for this. But this is a new environment. I'm just, like I said, the most surprising thing to me is, like you said, anything can happen at the Super Bowl because Trump's there and he's got his phone with him. He could tweet anything at any time, right? So, but that's why it's shocking to me that the volatility is not better. The market's just absorbing all this news and just kind of doing what it wants.
I think it's going to be slow. I think, to your point, Liz, the VIX usually tells us what the market's going to do, and it's saying that there's not going to be much going on.
Yeah.
So VIX. I mean, we started the week at 2042, and now we're back below 16, and VVIX was upwards of 100, and now that's back below its long-term average. So, like you guys said, all seems to be fine.
Well, I'm
let's move to the next
VVIX
slide
right now. So what the VVIX is the volatility on the volatility, right?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, so that's definitely under 100 now. It's 96, so that's good. All's calm on the horizon here.
So I don't know. This is the first time. Honestly, this is the first time, ladies, that I've looked at this kind of thing all week. Like, I haven't paid attention to, oh my God, there's going to be tariffs. What are the companies? Am I going to hoard some guacamole, some avocados? Like, what do I need to pay attention to? You know, I really haven't looked. I feel like some stocks have been affected. I'm not sure about others, but this is the list here, right? Like the top 5 U.S. goods imported from Canada: crude oil, passenger cars, vehicle parts, bauxite and aluminum, and petroleum products. So it's mostly crude, right? Mexico. I don't think many. I found this out, honestly, maybe the first time 10 years ago. I don't know how many people knew this. We produce a lot of cars in Mexico. Okay, people. It's not always in Detroit.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of cars, but because it's cheaper in Mexico. A lot of those vehicle parts, trucks, buses, all that stuff, a lot of that's produced in Mexico. So that's your big thing, cars, right? And I think you saw GM and Ford kind of pull back a lot this week. Top 5 goods from China. I mean, I think everybody kind of knows this. It's mostly like electronics, right? The cell phones, computers, things like that, toys, etc. So again, I mean, you can use this as your guide if you want and look at different names. I just kind of like to, in these situations, if there's really going to be tariffs and those companies are going to react, let those companies react. I mean, maybe you're already in some of them. Maybe this is why you want to know this. If you are in some of these names, you already found out this week. But also what was interesting to me, speaking of moves, and I think this was tied to some of the government stuff. I don't know if you guys noticed, but things like CF and Moss, those agricultural names, they got rocked in the last couple of days. ADM, Archer Daniels Mitchell, like that, those names got absolutely rocked this week. I'm not really sure why. I sold a put in CF yesterday. If you look at the stock, it's kind of crazy. And I think that was something tied to Ukraine. I'm not sure.
I'd like to look at those today.
I mean, ADM went from, last week it went from 50, it's now trading 40, 43. Yeah, those are down. What is CF? I know I should know that. What is it?
It's I don't remember the name of the company.
CF Industrials, of course. I feel like Seinfeld.
Yeah. I forget they used to have a full name, but anyway, it's one of those agricultural names. God, what's that stuff called? It's,
that went from 2 days ago it was at 93.
Fertilizer stocks, right?
Oh, fertilizer.
Monsanto, CF Industries, fertilizer stocks. Let's move to the next slide.
I was going to say, getting back to the technology in China, when we, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, we were used to paying higher prices for TVs and computers, and they've gotten so cheap that I don't know if the price goes up a little bit, we'll even notice it that much. If you think about, like, back in the day, I remember my first house buying a TV, paying $5,000 for a TV, and now you can get that same TV for $700.
And we are all the same age. Was it a tube TV is my question. It was a tube TV.
No, she's right. I remember the first flat screen TV I paid. It was not what these prices are now. But I will tell you, being a former engineer and scientist, that's kind of this rule of electronics. So every so often, the way that I think the way it works is like, say, like a microchip, right? Like 20 years ago cost one thing. Now it costs a whole lot less just because it improves, right? And so as it improves, as technology improves, the price gets a little bit cheaper over time as it gets better. It's weird, but it's like this weird rule of electronics.
I mean, kind of going off that DeepSeek, are you kind of saying that is it's okay? It's good for business for these prices to kind of come down?
Yeah, in a way, yeah. This might not be good for NVIDIA stock, but it's good for the prices for us.
Yeah,
over time.
Cool.
Metals have been bid recently. Gold, silver. You guys do anything in any of these?
I'm a metal bull.
Liz
Oh
is
boy.
always long. Liz is always long gold. She's always long gold. So it's at all-time highs. Are you ever going to sell it, Liz?
Nope. I mean, I acquire it like an asset. So, like I said, I wouldn't get in now. And I mean, Scott always gives me the business every time I'm on the show. He's like, "What do you mean you're a gold bull?" I was like, "It's an existing position that I have been in for a long time, and I continue to ratchet it up. So I'm not getting out now. I'm on this ride for. I'm going to stay on this ride as long as I can. So yeah, metals have been high. And then Vanetta had a story this morning saying that gold's going to go to 3,000 for the first time in
I hope
history.
so.
Which isn't that crazy because it's 28.85 right now. So that story, that headline is like, oh, it's just going to pop up a smidge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hope so. I'm long
I'm
at
only long
29.50,
silver now.
3,000 call spread. You're long
Oh.
silver too?
Only silver now, right? Just because it hasn't had the same move as gold, so I'm hoping that silver has a little run. But you have, what do you have, Jamal? What position do you have?
Long at 29.50, 3,000 call spread. Actually, me and Chris Vecchio are both long that. Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
We'll see
I'm with
what
you.
happens.
I'm with you.
Let's move to the next slide. See what
You know
happens.
what? On that slide, though, what I was shocked by that I haven't looked at in a while is your copper futures, HG. That one popped up huge.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, I don't have any copper position, but you're right. It has popped up huge. That one is, kind of interesting. Average cost of a 30-second Super Bowl ad over the years. I figured you guys would like this. 20 years ago, it was $2.4 million for a 30-second Super Bowl ad. Now it's upwards of $8 million.
How long is the Super Bowl ad? 30 seconds?
30-second.
Yeah, pretty much. You guys heard of any good ones? You know any good ones yet?
Coming out? I don't know. But when we were young, when we were right out of college, 20-something years old, back in 1998.
Don't say the year.
Our friend worked for a big advertising agency, and they would make the Budweiser commercials for the Super Bowl. Don't you remember that, Liz?
Yeah, she did. She did.
Yeah. So that was exciting.
So she was she was less than $2.4 million because the lowest date you have on there is 2006.
Let's move to the last slide. Merck took a big hit this week. Shares fall by more than the most in 17 years after they halted some shipments of this HPV vaccine to China. Honeywell also fell, which was weird because they announced a split. Usually when you announce a split, it's like, oh, yeah, create more value. But I don't know. We'll see what happens after the split. They're splitting up three parts: aerospace, automation, and advanced materials. Bank of England, another central bank that's cutting rates. They cut it to 4.25%, which is basically where we are. Mm-hmm. Next week, CPI. PPI, retail sales pretty much, and then the research OJ, volatility price versus realized. That's all I got.
Hopefully next week we'll bring a lot of action with the CPI and PPI.